Welcome to AlphaBytes, digestible Q&A from experts at AlphaTrAI, an algorithmic at the core asset management firm. In this episode, Dr. Karen Williams, Chief Advisor, discusses the topic of investment risk with Dr. Homa Karamabadi, Chief Scientist.
I would like to start our conversation by grounding us to the purpose of investing. Every investment dollar has a purpose, and we can describe that purpose in terms of investment objectives. For individuals, the purpose might be to generate income during retirement or to pay for education at some future date. And we can imagine other objectives. For example, institutions like foundations, endowments, or pension funds and others. Investment objectives include generating income to make grants, make promise payments, fund capital spending, etc. The common thread is that risk is a key driver of the success of achieving these objectives. My first question is for Homa. Homa, risk comprises two things, exposures and uncertainty about those exposures. But none of us can really see risk. The best we can do is try to measure it, measure what we perceive. Before we talk about measuring anything, however, Homa, why should investors care about risk?
As you mentioned, achieving financial goals requires understanding the inherent risk in the market. Unfortunately, the market doesn't just keep going up. There's always pullbacks. And if the timing is not correct and you haven't accounted for the risk, you're going to be at risk of not actually being able to hit your financial goals. Imagine if you're about to retire and the market goes through a bear market, it drops like 50%. Now all of a sudden, you are in deep trouble in terms of achieving your retirement plans and goals. Now, the drawdowns and the losses in the portfolio typically fall into two broad categories. They're frequent small drawdowns, but the more damaging are really the less frequent but more severe drawdowns, typically caused by extreme events. And we're all familiar with examples of extreme events. The latest one was COVID pandemic, the Great Depression, dot-com bubble, and the financial crisis in 2007. And those are the ones that are unpredictable. They can happen at any time. And when they do happen, they can really damage your portfolio. Now, one of the key things is that to realize is that no one can actually predict when these big market downturns will occur. The recent pandemic was a good example. It just came out of nowhere, and the market just collapsed in a matter of a month. So such big downturns will happen. COVID was not the last time. And unfortunately, many are caught off guard when that does happen. And in the midst of it, since they are not prepared, they make poor decisions that actually compounds the problem, makes it worse. And it's a fact that most investors, even the more sophisticated ones, they don't really think about downside risk to their portfolio until they suffer losses. When the market is going up, it's very hard to convince people that, hey, you should be looking at your risk and taking mitigation approaches. People start thinking about that only when the market starts to correct and it starts to go down. And the proper time to actually think about risk and be prepared is before it happens, not during the market correction. So while any loss in the market when it goes down can be detrimental, it is the large drawdowns due to these extreme events that cause damage to the portfolio. If you're not prepared for those, then you're going to have trouble achieving your financial goals.